Hello, my name's Lucy James and I'm co-founder at Quarsh. In my last video, I talked about the core factors that influence retention and the 9 levers that you can use to improve your ability to keep the people you need. In this video, we'll explore in more detail the first major factor, which is culture. Culture is absolutely key to good retention. It involves assessing the culture of your organisation both top-down and bottom-up. You're looking for alignment, ultimately developing a consistent culture plan which emphasises strengths and which develops the culture against your company's values. Culture can mean different things to different stakeholders. Think of the way that the board views culture versus employees versus customers. Board, employees and customers. What the board wants to see may be different to what employees want to see or why customers choose to buy from you. Ideally, these 3 categories need to view your company's culture in the same way. This gives your culture authenticity and integrity, both absolutely key to creating and sustaining a strong company culture that lasts, even as the employee base or the product set changes. A sustainable culture ensures that people feel safe, which in turn affects their commitment to one another and to the business. Often we rely on our stated values. These need to be a true reflection of what's actually happening in the business, not just a wish list from the powers that be. Equally, values should be meaningful and should resonate with all stakeholders. So steer clear away from table stakes, things like loyalty, honesty, trust, openness, customer service. These are no longer differentiators. If you're in doubt, talk to your teams about what they like about working in your business and ask for examples of when they've seen those values last demonstrated in the previous month or so. A good first step is to run a survey. Everything is about data. To my mind, data is the starting point for most continuous improvement exercises, and focusing on retention is certainly that. Your survey can encompass many, if not all, of the 9 levers we talked about in the last video. If you need a starting point, give us a ring and we'd be happy to help. Once you've got a clear idea of your actual values and your true culture versus where you want to be, you can start working on it. Improve it if you need to. Here are some ideas of what you can do next. You can create a culture team taken from different parts of the business. Be clear about where you are and where you want to be. Give them autonomy and freedom to come up with their own ideas and run a culture champions program to drive and embed their ideas. Work on a communications plan, including its format, a proper launch, social channels, and perhaps some physical documentation if you need to. Create sub-teams to develop more collateral, which could be blogs or videos or physical events. And taking these sub-teams from different parts of the business encourages people to cross-fertilise ideas and get to know each other a bit better. Have a calendar of events that you can publish so that everyone can get excited and involved. Get your policies and procedures up to scratch too. And then finally, embed recognition practices to celebrate those who really reflect your culture and your values. The elephant in the room here, though, is how do we deal with people who don't reflect our values? And it's a really tricky question. In an ideal world, they would self-select and find somewhere else to work. In reality, that doesn't really tend to happen. People get stuck or they shy away from tough decisions or they simply don't see that they're in the wrong company. There are all sorts of reasons why people don't leave. So it's up to the leaders in a business to be really clear on culture and values and give managers the tools and the authority to deal with problems. One of the best ways to do this is, again, to start with facts. What are your values and does everyone live up to them? Using a matrix can help. And here's an example. Put your values along the top and your team member names down the side. Now rank each person against those values. You can do this with numbers, as in this example, or you can use a RAG scale, as in this example. Gino Wickman's Entrepreneur's Operating System, or EOS, refers to this as the People Analyzer, which is a very similar way of assessing who you've got and whether they're in the right seat. This can be intuitive, and then check your answers with examples of good versus poor culture alignment. Review your score with your peers to get any bias flushed out. You'll use this sort of process to define gaps in your business too, and when you come to recruit, you can use the same framework as part of the assessment process. As we said in an earlier video, recruitment and retention mirror each other, and if you're getting recruitment right from a culture perspective, retention is much easier. You can use those same facets as part of the recruitment and assessment process. Now comes the hard part. If it's obvious, really obvious, that there are individuals who would be much happier in another environment, you need to find a way to make that happen. Not doing so speaks volumes about what the business is prepared to accept And it will also already be painfully obvious to even the nicest of your employees that something needs to change. So, to recap, culture is a key part of what makes a business a good place to work. Consistency, clarity, and continuous reinforcement are essential to support good retention. Start with a survey to find out what your current culture is all about. Then find out what people want. Finally, ensure you've got the right people in the business and roll out a program that supports your true culture and values. In the next video, we're going to talk about the next lever, which is management. For now, thanks for watching and see you next time.